Welcome back, and hello if you are new. Thanks so much for tuning in. There's never been two partners that were better suited than History and Amon Amarth. Following their critically acclaimed and absolutely fantastically successful Jomsviking, Amon Amarth have returned fresh from the armory back into the battlefield once more with their brand new album, The Berserker. If, like me, you've been reserving yourself to the idea that all Amon Amarth's albums are beginning to blur into one, then you absolutely have to hear The Berserker. Now, Amon Amarth have always been an incredibly cinematic band, and the album is absolutely awash with this widescreen level Amon Amarth that we're looking at in 2019. For example, opening the album on Fafnir's Gold is this beautiful acoustic section before those signature Amon Amarth twin guitar melodies come in. And then later on second single Crack the Sky, you've got this very kind of spoken word feel from Heg. And it really creates that sense of a cinematic atmosphere that you're listening to a story being told.
His eyes, they are aglow, longing for the fight.
And then following that, there's Mjolnir, Hammer of Thor, where they've got these kind of like clanging sound effects, and it sounds like, you know, Vikings welding this massive weapon of power. And then you've got sections which reminded me almost of like an Alice in Chains style weird clean guitar on Shield Wall, and it's reprised on a couple of other tracks as well. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what the band are experimenting with here on the Berserker. But it's as we get further into the album where the Berserker really begins to shine. For example, on Valkyria, there's piano. You know, who would have ever thought piano would be on an Amon Amarth track? And the final song, Into the Dark, as ever, you know, it's always quite an epic closer when it comes to an Amon Amarth record, but it's bookended by this beautiful symphonic section which doesn't sound out of place and doesn't sound like it's purposefully been put there just to kind of make things a bit more interesting. Yet, of course, those arena championing choruses are definitely still there, particularly on Fafnir's Gold, Mjolnir, Hammer of Thor. You know, these are songs which are absolutely begging to be played live and will go down an absolute storm. Also, dynamics have definitely not been forgotten. For example, Ironside uses a really simple slide of a guitar riff to create this almost like an axe kind of cutting through the song, and it really works, particularly with Heg's vocals where he's like, Ironside. However, of course, what lies at the crux of a brilliant Amon Amarth album is their fantastic songwriting ability. And without a doubt for me, When Once Again We Can Set Our Sails is genius, and it just makes you want to headbang non-stop. Though it has to be said, Raven's Flight works as a perfect bridge between Jomsviking and this new kind of sound that the band are experimenting with on the Berserker. This leads me to the album's centerpiece, which is The Berserker at Stamford Bridge. Now, this is a track which combines everything that Amon Amarth have been putting together throughout their entire career and brings it into this cinematic, widescreen feel. Also, I think one of the biggest strong suits of this song is the fact that Heg is not only narrator, as he is normally, but almost kind of takes on the persona of this Berserker, particularly with this kind of like rousing call where he says, "Englishmen, I am waiting here. In my heart, I hold not an ounce of fear." And really, most importantly for me, this doesn't sound like something cheesy. You know, it doesn't sound like grown men playing with swords and stuff. You know, this is like Game of Thrones level kind of cool. And this is how Amon Amarth are going to reach that next level of festival headliners. I mean, they've already headlined Bloodstock as a start. However, possibly most importantly, there's a real focus on the drums and the bass on this album, which for me has always been something that's been a little bit left by the wayside. And as much as the drums have always worked with Amon Amarth's sound, Jock Wahlgren brings it to the next level and doesn't necessarily, you know, mean that he's like a Mike Portnoy in Amon Amarth, but he just adds these small flavors, these little dynamics and nice little touches which really build the tension in the song, which for Amon Amarth is exactly what you need. The Berserker is the equivalent of hearing a renewed and reinvigorated story. It may be consisting of the same components, but the story is told in a completely different light. And for that reason, I'm going to give the record a 5 out of 5. It's absolutely brilliant, and I never thought I'd say that about an Amon Amarth record. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out all my interviews, album reviews. I've got an interview with Johan from Amon Amarth, where we talk at Bloodstock and all that sort of stuff. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments, and I'll make sure that I try and reply to as many as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for another album review. Alright, take care friends.